I'm recording now. I was messing around. I accidentally did this. I don't know why I was doing this. Why was I doing this? Anyway, I'd done it. And if you're wondering why the video started in this bizarre fashion, it's because I did this and the phone flashed and I thought it took a photo. So I was trying to see what I did that took the photo. Anyway, that's what I was doing. I was trying to not look. I was trying not to look like this, to be honest. Summer's been hard on the old hair. It's now practically blonde. Anyway, what I was going to do is I've decided I'm going to start doing a daily update. The plan is to do it with a rum or a wine at sunset every day, because I'm now making my way west, or I was making my way west and I've managed to get stuck. So today's update, I'm going to have to learn how to look at the camera, not the video. It's not going to be easy. It's alright on the GoPro because I tend to just look at the whole GoPro and it does it, but on the phone I'm tending to look over here and I need to be looking over here. Anyway, I've got a map, so gonna require two maps because we've actually left the French Riviera now. So on map 1, this is the one we was using before, we have gone from obviously where to start. We started where we started these whole videos, so I ended up going back into Saint Raphael, and we went from Saint Raphael. We was gonna go back into Saint-Tropez, but I weren't really keen on going back to Saint-Tropez. And actually, when I set off, it might have been the best sailing conditions I've had. The wind didn't seem to be blowing much more than like four knots, I don't think. But the boat moved a good like 4 knots as well somehow. Maybe a little bit less, but I had both sails up. And because the sea was like flat minus, you know, the boat was on a little tilt. The wind was absolutely perfect, you know. The sky was clear, the stars were out. So this, you know, I do have some actually really good footage of this video when it actually comes up, because the conditions were just perfect. So because of that, I ended up, so I've set off from I actually originally was obviously over by Antibes and did that part already, so that's actually where I started from. Anyway, Saint Raphael's just here, so we was in Santa Lucia Port. I was planning to go around into Saint-Tropez, which is down here, but I actually just was going, looked at the chart, and I was here, I'd already missed it. So I ended up keeping going around, and I anchored in what was a fairly strange anchorage, but I'll tell you about that in a minute, and stayed there for a night. And then the next day was umming and ahhing about coming and hiding from the wind behind here, because right now there's a really strong southeasterly wind, southeasterly / east wind. And I could have hid from it from there, but it was due to be 42 knot gusts on the Saturday, so it's Sunday now. So anyway, I ended up just thinking, you know what, it's too tempting just to go do a short journey. I didn't wake up feeling that up to it, but in the end actually sailed all the way around to Porquerolles, which is here. So on that sail, well, first I'll tell you about the anchorage. So by the time I set off, I went through the night. So by the time I actually got to the anchorage, it was about 2:30, well, 2 in the morning maybe. So by that time you're a bit tired, and I'm trying to find somewhere to anchor. And there were 2 rocks basically, but just like in the middle of the sea, and around the rocks was about 6 meters, but I was quite aware the wind was going to start quite early in the morning. It was a bit of a nerve-wracking anchorage for the night, because I just put all the chain and hoped the boat wouldn't move. then in the morning I was straight into a swell, and the anchor was a little bit stuck. It weren't too easy to get away. I did get away in the end, but the anchorage weren't an ideal anchorage. So I ended up with that issue because I've obviously set off planning to go into Saint-Tropez and then decided to go a bit further. I guess I weren't committed though to going that much further to actually get around that cape, cap, tip, whatever you want to call it, into a better anchorage. But the next time, after waking up in that position, really not comfortable in the morning, I will the next time go the extra bit and get in behind something a bit more protected. It was a little bit protected, but it weren't ideal. And then the sail then to Porquerolles, actually, you know, it was a sail. I started off, I put both sails up. The wind was advertised to be 15 knots, but actually, 15 knots, with gusts up to like 16. But it ended up, actually, there was a part where I had to tack. As I went to tacking on your own, not always easy, especially now I can't furl the Genoa, because you're trying to work on that. And what I tried to do is I tried to get the main back into the middle, quickly get the Genoa, and then let the main back out the other side. But does it happen like that? No, it doesn't. So the autopilot's actually doing an alright job, but on that day when you're trying to tack, the boat, obviously, once you go back round, the wind starts and the boat wants to do this. So however much the autopilot's fighting against it, it just doesn't manage to do it. So boom, luckily I'd controlled it. It didn't fly all the way across, but it went across a bit. I look up, and then obviously as I'm then trying to pull the sheet for the Genoa, or jib, I don't even know what we call that anymore, because it's neither really. It's the makeshift head sail, so we'll just call it the head sail from now on. As I go to pull that in, it's tight, and the boat's just wanting to go on a beam reach as much as the autopilot's just kind of giving up hope. And so I've had to take the autopilot off. I'm trying to get the boat back into the wind, but it's pushing that much, and it's the first time I've not had the engine on in a while, so the engine was actually off, so trying to keep control of that. And then the wind was actually started gusting, so the boat suddenly goes from my comfortable like 4 knots, it was 4.5 knots, to the beam reach, where then the boat's like flying through the water. And because you've got the main sail and the head sail, the boat's slightly too overpowered, and it's really difficult to get it back where I needed it. So that's something I'm going to have to work on. But in the end, I ended up taking the main sail down, because trying to get where I wanted to go, the wind was directly behind me. So the main sail was taking the wind out of the head sail. Obviously, if I had a pull, we could do it that way. I could have put a spinnaker up, but in the end, I took the main sail down and did mostly 3.5 to 4 knots anyway, so that was all right. Then got into Porquerolles, and this is longer than the normal daily updates are going to be. But when I got into Porquerolles Saturday, so yesterday, the wind was always due to be quite really strong. I debated going and anchoring, and when the video for this comes out, I'll show you where the boats are anchored. And you know, I've anchored quite a lot in the winter and the summer already. I reckon I'd have been alright at it, but I thought it was just going to be one night. The wind actually then ended up being a lot stronger yesterday than it is. As I say, we probably could have anchored out there. It would have been not that comfortable, but slightly, I think it would have been alright. My plan was to go first thing in the morning, and if you watch this channel already, it's not beyond me to try and pirate my way around where possible. Should I be doing that? Absolutely not. Needs must sometimes. Anyway, the problem is then in the morning, Saturday, I was like, you know, the place I actually came into didn't have electricity like I thought it did. I'd called, and they've not put the reservation down. So then when I arrived, there was just a security guard the security guard didn't go past the boat details onto the port, so actually I'm not sure how much they actually know I'm here, but obviously with every passing day they're becoming more aware, I think. Anyway, that wind was meant to just be yesterday, and I was gonna go yesterday evening when it died down a bit out to anchor, and then today there was meant to be a decent easterly wind. So if we're going west, if the wind's coming from the east, that's sets, I'm not pointing in the right one, that's the east. So if it's coming that way, pushing us the way we want to go, that's the ideal. However, I looked yesterday afternoon, and then the weather for today is actually worse than it was yesterday, so I'm kind of stuck in Porquerolles. And again, when the video comes out, Porquerolles, it's quite a cool island, but when you're stuck here in the wind, it's not that cool, because honestly, I've had a bit of boat anxiety for the last 2 days. Yesterday, one of the solar panels came off. The wind was, it said up to like 42, but well, it might have been 42, but I'm myself trying to convert from the kilometre one I used to use to the knot one, because I should be using the knot one, but I'm just used to looking at the kilometre one, because whenever I had to click on the app or on the website, it shows me the kilometre one. So I'm now trying to adapt to looking at the not kilometre one and the knot one, and it's trying to register in my brain how strong that is. Luckily the colour showed me, obviously I knew it was going to be too strong. I weren't going out sailing today or yesterday, but yeah, I've ended up being stuck here a little bit longer. The solar panel came off, I have got it back up, but that was a bit of a struggle. I've had to go around the boat and like tie all the sails down as much as I can, and there's not been much sun either, and we're not in an electric spot, so it is obviously waiting it out. I'm hoping tomorrow there's meant to be an easterly wind again, so on the new map now that we're not in the Riviera anymore, we're now in the Var, which, for anyone who doesn't know, the Var, I lived in France for years, it confuses me which area is which, but the Var is pretty much from Saint Raphael-ish all the way up to beyond Marseille, so that's the area we're in now. You can probably hear that wind. So hopefully tomorrow we make it from, show you on the map, Porquerolles is where I am now, and I'm hoping I can skip Toulon altogether and get round to Bandol, which is here. So I'm hoping we can do that tomorrow. However, I'm going to have a look tonight, because the wind's then due to change. And what I've set off, and now I'm looking at like all the charts and everything, and I've kind of lost some of the protection I had before. And if you watch these videos, the one, we're not up to date to the one where I've had to like pirate rig the boat. That's what I'm calling it, pirate rig, because any professionals obviously probably needed to replace the rigging, but I ended up fixing it. It's all coming up in the videos, but it's, when the boat went on that beam reach the other day and suddenly it's overpowered, I remembered like how scary it is sometimes to be out on the sea on a boat, that you're sailing single-handed, recording during the winter and the summer when I was just doing little trips around, and that having now actually set off and all the things I've put into place to hope the boat will just get me more westerly than I am now. They're now being tested, and it's a bit scary really. The engine is going to be tested a bit more than it has been. It's alright on a nice calm day to motor over to Ile de l'Erins from Cannes, where I was doing on a boat trip, but now that we're having full sailing days, it's a bit more of a test. But what I will say, just to end this daily update, and the other ones aren't going to be this long, because I had to fit in a few days to kind of, I wanted it to start from when I've actually kind of set off. And a lot of the reason I want to do it too is I'm trying to just put on all the videos from the winter. If I get a bit of time, I can, even if I put them all on and people can watch as and when they have time, if they want to go back and watch it. But for me now, I really want to be recording, you know, going. Them videos are there. I've always said I want to use them, but this gives me a little bit of motivation to make some progress every day doing this daily update. So do let me think if it's a bit overkill if I do a daily update. They won't be this long. They're normally going to be about 5 minutes, but as I say, I'm fitting in 3 daily updates into one. The videos are all still going to be there, so I hope what I don't want to do is then nobody watches the actual videos, because they're the main ones really. But I'm also quite aware that I'm really behind. So someone messaged me after watching one of the videos the other day saying, "Oh, it looks like things are going all right. Like, how are you doing and stuff?" And the last video is now 4 months ago ish. So I quite like to just be doing something that's real time. I've already started to edit the videos as I'm doing them now, and so that's the plan. We're on a new map, so that's exciting. And yeah, now we're just looking towards that part of the coast. But now we've set off and the wind has decided. There were quite a few good days. I was hoping to get to Port Mew near Cassis, which is near Marseille, within a few days, and then now the wind's blowing from that way. And when I look at that coastline, ideally I'd miss a lot of it out. I'd do it's basically 100-ish nautical miles, I think, from Marseille, over to Barcelona. I'd have to double check that, but it's a doable sail. But it's going to involve doing it overnight, and the thing is, the stronger the wind, the more pressure is going to be onto the boat, and the more pressure is going to be onto the boat, the less I'm sure how ready it is. You know, one of my sail tacks the other day, sliders, whatever they're called, has undone itself because the wind was a bit stronger. So yeah, I do stay tuned for the videos, because it will show how I'm trying to do it on a budget and having to take shortcuts. And trust me, I don't. If I could, I'd take this boat out of the water next week. I'd throw loads of money at it, so I knew that everything was ready to sail, and that's probably what I should be doing. But I haven't got a load of money to throw at it. So, and I don't want to be stuck here for another winter. I think if it came to it and I had to stay in the Riviera where I was, I'd be inclined to go and work for the winter. But we're going to see how we get on. That's a really long daily update, so if you made it through that, thanks for watching. You know, subscribers have been going up the last few weeks once I've started posting a bit more regularly again after some of the problems, so I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, stay tuned and let me know if you think the daily updates are something you'd be interested in watching. As I say, I'd hope they're normally going to be 5 minutes. As the sun sets, I'm going to have a rum or a wine and let you know what I've done in the day for 5 minutes. This one's been a little bit longer, so I hope it's not overkill. But if you like the video, do give it a like for me. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, which the YouTube algorithm has been annoying me recently. But yeah, it helps with that. And I used to be really guilty of it. I used to watch, there's Wildland Sailing, Sam Holmes Sailing, Adventures of an Old Sea Dog, Sailing Frenchman, and I used to watch the videos and not like them, and I now like real guilt because it wouldn't, like, just now I know how much YouTube uses them likes to push the video further, so I also don't want to spend 2 minutes begging everyone to like the video. If you watched it, it's good enough for me. If you enjoyed it, even better, because that's why I'm doing it.